Okay, we're going to get started here in just a minute with the family kit. We started out pretty easy with that first one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This one's fairly easy too. This kit uses our new cherry wood paper line, which is actually up on our website now. Give it just a couple seconds and then we'll get started here. Okay, I'm going to get set up so that Patsy can get started on this class. All right. Okay, if you have not, pop those packets open, and we're going to do just a little bit of cutting in the beginning. And you can be punching out pieces, but keep in mind that we don't need any of the little tiny pieces right now. So if you don't get any punching out done until we're ready to use it, that's okay, because the smaller embellishment pieces will be last. So what you are looking for are bigger pieces that need punched out. Make sure that's lined up. So I will say in the very beginning, you have a couple of die cuts that are out of the wood grain paper. And once you punch these die cuts out, you have a white frame. It's not a scrap, so don't throw anything away till we're all done. These will go on pages 3 and 4, but just keep in mind that you want to save them. This is another one that is part of 3 and 4. It's just a bigger frame, but all the background paper will go on covering up these holes. So hang on to those. And what we need in the very beginning this is our background for pages 1 and 2, 12 by 12 green. And let's cut those labels off of there. And just 2 of the green pieces. You have several dark green pieces, but just 2 of those for now that we need for backgrounds. Cut those labels off. And then we're getting ready to start with page 1. So one of the die cuts that you will need looks like this, and it is plaid, and we need to take off that outer frame. And let's punch that big circle out of the middle. And we'll set this aside. There is an actual mat in the back of this one, but we can set that aside for now. What we need is a green 12 by 12, our plaid frame, and then this big circle, this tan circle that has all the script writing on it. And I will say that this makes quite a difference if you actually chalk the edges of this circle and the edges of your tan photo mat. So let's take a minute and do that before we get, am I crooked?
Nope, I was just moving it down just a little.
And some of the Powder Puff Chalk inks, brown jasper, we're going to use that again. That's a nice color for this one. As you can see, it pretty much matches. What did I do with it? Can you find that again for me, that brown jasper? Is that it? Oh, it is right here. It's this one right here. It matches pretty much perfectly with a little bit of contrast for the circle. And some of the other ones, malachite, that's a nice deep green. And you can use any of the browns. There's tons of browns. There's like amaretto, that's always a favorite. Mocha Mama, that's another favorite. This one is even manzanita, that's a nice deep reddish brown. And Bloody Mary, another deep reddish brown. So I'm going to put onto the edge of this, since we suggested brown jasper. And here comes a train, and Wanda Schwartz, you are a train prize winner. Congratulations, we will get you a gift. And oh my word, they are loud. You might have to turn your volume down a minute.
So with all those Powder Puff ink suggestions, let us know which ones you are using.
Right.
It's kind of fun to see what people are using on each kit. And another one that matches this one really well is Fields of Green.
You know what I just did? I just grabbed the edge of this with the edge of my paper, and it pulled my ink pad back. And I forget to tell this to people a lot of the time. So if this happens to you, I'm going to show you what I mean. I just caught the corner of this, and I grabbed it and pulled on it. If that happens, if you have some 3-in-1 glue, and that's not a wet glue like Aleene's or Elmer's glue or something like that. That's not what it is. It's if you put that back into the pad, put your pad inside and it will glue it right back in. So if that happens, it doesn't happen often, but as I can see, I grabbed the edge of my circle with the edge of and I got a little rough with it. So if that happens, if you use your 3-in-1 glue, and do you have some?
I don't have any over here right now.
I think there's one.
It's like a gel glue.
Sitting up there on that top thing. I don't know. But anyway, see, I made a mess with that, and now I'm really mad. If I was at home where you are and I couldn't fix that. So this is what 3-in-1 glue is. It's a clear glue. It dries clear. Works great on all craft projects because it doesn't warp your paper. But it also, a little bit of this will glue your ink pad back in if you ever do this. I'm glad mine's a sample.
Doesn't happen very often.
Doesn't happen often, but it's sure nice to have a quick fix when it does. And on the frame, I would go with like amaretto or any of the browns. The brown jasper would be perfect with that also. Let's see what it looks like here. Yeah, any of the browns. So take a minute and do your chalking. And again, the edge of the box would work great for this, or the edge of your workspace would work great for this. Malachite is another one that you could use on the edge of this. That's a nice deep forest green that would be fun to use on that. So get those edges chalked up just a little bit. If you want to chalk the inside of this. And these circle things are a little harder to chalk, but it works. So just do a little section at a time and see how that just makes it enough different from the rest of the piece. But it looks really good on there.
Joyce Coffee says, I love the 2025 ink colors. That reminds me, we will this weekend be giving you a sneak peek. You'll be the first ones to see our 2026 colors.
Oh, right.
We
just got those prototypes in, and we have them named, and we will show those to you. They're pretty fun. Some fun new colors. Of course, every year there's fun new colors. Okay.
And Annette says, it's like the trains knew about your event. They do sound louder.
Right, right. Did you guys all call into the train company and say, we get more prizes if you go by there and honk really loud? Okay, once you get that chalked up, and again, mine is just a sample, so I'm just adding a little bit of adhesive. And this is centered. Top to bottom, left to right. Mine might not be perfect, but yours will be perfect. And then we'll chalk up the edge of this thing that I made a mess out of. I'm going to show you what Manzanita looks like on this just for fun. I kind of like this deep red. Yeah, I don't like it. We're going to use something else. I would say brown. Here's a mocha. I'm going to try that. Mocha and amaretto you can use in so many places. So we have had those two from the very, very beginning, like 15 years ago, and they are still some of our best-selling colors. So see that? That's mocha. Nice, deep, chalky, inky brown. So I would choose mocha on that. And then that's going to be glued right back into the center. Right into that hole, and we have built ourselves a background. Okay? So this is the goal for our whole. What we're going to do here is we're going to do these little embellishment pieces. We already did the background, a couple of photo mats. We will leave family and the key until the end, and you can do those on your own. Super easy. They just take time to do with brads and things. Then, when we get to page 2, we have this piece right here. You can see that. This is designed to go over. You put this in your page protector like this. This will go down over the front. These little circles are spaces for photos. And then you can lift it up and see the photos behind it. You can also add photos on this piece. So lots and lots of spaces for photos. We'll get to that in just a minute. So the very first thing is we are going to put these strips of paper up along the left side. And the first one that goes on, make sure I have the right piece here. You have a 1x9 blue paper, and it goes in about an inch from the left edge of the page and centered top to bottom. So that's going to look about like this. And we didn't really suggest any blue colors, but navy would be really pretty on this, and also deep sea.
Blue moon.
Blue moon is another really nice dark blue, so if you want to try one of those, there, that would work really well. So it's in about an inch from the left-hand side of your page. It's a 1 inch by 9 inch dark blue piece of paper. And sometimes the ink doesn't show up a lot on that. One that might be kind of fun to try if you wanted to is white on that blue. We forget to use the white. What's the name of that one? The white ink.
Coconut.
Coconut. Looks really good on dark colors like this, so that might even be one you might want to try if you want to chalk the edges. So that goes on an inch from the left-hand edge. And then you're looking for a piece that looks like this. It's 2.5 by 10 inch whiteboard paper. And it will be chalked up a little bit, and it overlaps the edge of the blue, centered top to bottom. And I'm going to add some roots. This is another one that we've used a lot of, and it's a nice brown color. And it works well with this particular The brown jasper, I think, is absolutely perfect for this. And that's what's suggested on. Do that one more time with the brown jasper. Yeah, that's a really nice color. I would say brown jasper on this one. Chalk up those edges, and since it's nice and white piece of paper or lighter colored paper, the ink shows up really good on that. And then you're going to just overlap the right side of your blue strip and glue it down. Okay, once you have that glued down, now you're looking for this piece of paper. It's like 1.5 inches by 9 inches. It's tan, kind of a tan color in the background with flowers. And I'm going to try that manzanita on this, because as you can see, those little purplish colored flowers on there are exactly the color of manzanita. Again, just a suggestion, and I'll test it on mine, see if you like it. It looks pretty good on this tan paper. So that's a thought too. Manzanita is a nice one. Bloody Mary is also a nice brownish red color. And the brown jasper would also work really well on this. And then this is going to go on about like this. Okay, you got those all put together then, all your 3 strips on. Okay, now we're going to make a couple of photo mats. And it starts with a 5x7 green and a 4.5 by 6.5 plaid. So both of those are pieces that you can chalk up a little bit. And I need a malachite. Can you find me one over on my table? Yep. And as you can see right here, when I pulled this out, I wasn't being very careful, and I nicked it and have white. So I'm going to just use this to go over it and over it until it fills in and you don't even notice it. So this is malachite green onto our 5x7 green paper. So go ahead and chalk those edges up. So keep in mind, tomorrow we have a lot more prizes to give away. We have a real busy day, the whole entire day tomorrow. And we have a Wheel of Fortune. Some of you are going to be lucky enough to be part of that tomorrow evening. And you're going to have things that you'll have all evening to be able to finish. Because again, if you just tuned in, our goals for this class, these classes for the album, are we have 4 pages in each one, but we focus on 1 and 2, and we do all the main parts of 1 and 2, and then we usually give you a little time in between to finish and start on 3 and 4. Some people will get them done. Some will need to work on them tomorrow evening at your in-home crop. But there's going to be a lot going on tomorrow. So there's the green with the malachite, and chalk up the edges of our plaid just a little bit.
Peggy says, what is Wheel of Fortune? It's just a game that we're going to do tomorrow where we spin wheels and win prizes, and it's just a fun game we'll do at the crop tomorrow evening.
And if you're lucky, you might be one of the lucky people that we draw a name and spin the wheel for your fortune. Probably won't be $1 million, but you know, this is scrapbooking, so. Okay, and then go ahead and get your plaid added to your green, centered. And it will go on just about like this. So you go ahead and glue that down. Get your 4.5 by 6.5 inch plaid, chalk up those edges and glue it onto your 5 by 7 green. And some of those pieces are parts of die cuts, other pieces are pre-cut. So sometimes you have to look in both two places in order to find Okay, so there's our biggest photo mat, and the next one is a 3 by 4 tan floral paper that looks like this, and a 3.5 by 4.5 green paper. Now again, you're going to chalk up these edges, choose whichever color you've been using or want to try. Add a little floral paper to the green paper. It is pouring the rain here. I don't know if you all know that we are from Washington State. We're on the western part of Washington State, and yes, it rains a lot. And I just saw on the news this morning where people were hydroplaning through Seattle trying to get to work and things because there was so much water. We will be lucky if it doesn't flood here. Our little town floods a lot in the winter, so it's kind of what we're looking. We don't look forward to it, but we expect it.
And we're coming off a week of gorgeous, clear sky fall weather.
Right.
It's hard to hit this rain.
Right. And so many of you up in the northern parts have seen the northern lights the last few nights. It is amazing. It's better than what we saw when we went to Iceland. You don't need to go to Iceland. You just need to live in the northern part of the United States. Absolutely gorgeous. So the 3 by 4 flowered paper goes on the green. Chalk up those edges a little bit. And then this will go on right about here. And once you get that done, that's all we're doing to page 1. Because as you can see now, the only other things that we need to do, it says nothing means more than. You'll cut that out. You need to layer up your word family, layer up your key, add your brads, and then page 1 is done. So once you get your little photo mats put together, glued down, chalked up on page 1, we're going to set that aside and we're going to do the little flip book on page 2.
And somebody asked when the videos will be posted. They actually post immediately after we are done with the class.
Right.
So they'll be ready for you. And then after 30 days, Facebook takes them down, but we have them on our YouTube. So you'll be able to access them whenever.
Okay, right, right. Okay, I'm going to set this aside now, and we are going to take a look at page 2 and start that one. And again, I'm going to show you what the goal here is. We have a couple of photo mats. I'm going to show you how these little guys go together, these little half moon pieces. And here's your little flip book that we're going to work on right now. It has spaces for pictures in these circles on the front. Lift it up, you have space for a lot more pictures. So we're going to work on that right now. What you need is this paper that looks like this. It's 4.5 inches by 12 inches. We're going to score it in at 1 inch from one of the short ends. So you're going to score it across here. And if you have a scoring tool for your trimmer, great. If you have a scoreboard or a score pal, that works great too. But I use it just for a simple score. I throw it into my trimmer at 1 inch. Take my bone folder and run it through the groove. Not all of you will have a groove in your trimmer, but that's just an idea if you want to get a nice crisp fold line, and that works really good if you have a Fiskars type trimmer. So there's your score line, and I'm going to fold that back just like that, okay? Okay. Score it at 1 inch across the top, and by the top you can see that the lettering is hard to read. There's really no words in there that make sense to me, but you can tell if it's upside down or not. So choose the top 1 inch score line, fold it back, and then you're going to add adhesive onto the music note side of that 1 inch flap. And probably a couple rows of adhesive would be good because it's a pretty wide piece. And what happens with this, you're going to lay it onto your page about a 1/2 inch in from the left-hand side, making sure that that score line is flush with the top of your background page, okay? There's your score line. And this is going to stick off by 1 inch. Stick off the top by 1 inch. So it's about a 1/2 inch in. You're going to just fold that around. That adhesive will hold it to the back. So it looks like this. There's your little 1 inch score line. We have another train. We can't get anything done for the trains. Okay, I know, you guys are going to be... Karen Berry, you have won a train prize. Good job. And you know what I forgot to tell you is to chalk this up a little bit before you glued it down, but it really, you can still do that. Let's add a little color to this. You could even add some to the top of this, because that will show, and then to the edges just a little bit. So the fact that we've already glued it doesn't hurt anything. We can still add some color to these edges. And once you've got all the color on that you want, set your ink aside. Well, actually, you know, we don't have to set it aside. You're going to choose another color of ink or the same color, and then you can chalk up the edges of this piece here. See, it's got 3 holes. It's got blue dots on the back. If you're not finding it, it's got blue with dots on the back and it's plaid on the front, 3 holes, okay? So locate that piece, and now you can chalk up these edges before we get it attached to your page. Okay, but instead of gluing it down completely, I would just say add just a little bit of adhesive, and or if you have repositional tape, that would be fine too, but you don't need much. In fact, I'm going to put some in, tiny bit in each corner. Yep, that's the same train. And the reason for just a tiny bit in each corner, it lets you get it assembled, but it also lets you pull it back up in order to add pictures. Okay, and then there's one more step to this, but you don't want to do it until you get your pictures in there. And what it is these little skinny little blue circles that go around. Get your pictures in first, and then add these little blue circles over the top. And those blue circles come from a die cut that looks like this, and it has all kinds of strange little half pieces, half circles in each circle. So the outside are your skinny circles that go onto the center of skinny little blue circle goes into the center once you get your pictures in there, and fits perfectly right inside of there, just like that. So don't put them on yet. You don't want to do that. And then the only other thing that you need is, if you can see right here, there's this little tab, and that just means open me here, okay? And that little tab is a die cut. Looks like this. We're going to chalk up the edges, and it gets glued on underneath. It's glued on to the back side of this flap. And then these little half circles that you see here, just to explain it a little bit because it is a little bit confusing. You can see after you punch out that skinny little circle, you have these things left in here. So let's punch these out. And you can see that it's offset. This outer ring is offset. That means we don't need that piece. If we make it perfectly round, then you're going to wonder where that piece goes, and it really goes nowhere. So that's why we do that. But let's punch out these little pieces out of the inside. There's a smaller half circle, okay? And this is exactly what you want. There's your smaller half circle. And your larger half circle is dark blue. Looks like that. So you're going to chalk both of these up just a little bit, and then you glue the floral smaller circle onto the dark blue bigger circle. And those are just embellishment. And it's just easier for me to tell you how that works, because otherwise you're looking for pieces that are right in front of you, but it's hard to figure it out sometimes. So then these will end up tucking down into. You have 2 more photo mats, 4x6 here, 4x6, and a little quote that says, "May you have a wall for the wind." And here's where you glue those little half circles and tuck them in behind your photo mat. And that's all for page 1 and 2. And now 3 and 4 will be, they'll use up everything else in your kit. So you have this frame here that you punched out that circle from page 1, you're going to use that. You have photo mats, more of the little half circles that you know how to put together now. A few embellishments, a tri-circle frames down at the bottom, and then you're done. Keep in mind though that you will need to trim down if you aren't sure. Always go back to the top left of your page if you need to know a cutting diagram or a cutting dimension. So what you're going to do with the final 2 big pieces of green paper, you want to trim those down until they're 11 by 11. You don't need those until you're on pages 3 and 4. But trim those down to 11 by 11, and again it tells you on the written instruction side of your paper. Then you can go back and add your key on page 1, your little embellishments for page 3 and 4, and you're done. Do you have anything you want to tell them here?
No, I think we're good. We're done for today, but we'll be back in the morning at
9 o'clock Pacific time.
9 Pacific time. We'll do classes all day, but we'll have a lunch break in the middle, and then we'll have a little dinner break and do a crop party.
And more prizes, and we made a little video for everybody again. Again, I will warn you, it's really dumb. I'll tell you the name of it. It's called I Don't Look Good Naked Anymore, so look forward to that one.
So you guys keep working away, get your stuff done for today, and we will see you in the morning.
Good night.